Hey, hey, ho, ho. It is time to go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey, sister, what you over there doing? I see you bopping and
I am listening to Jamie Foxx and Teddy Riley and their tribute to the late great Andre Harrell, and they playing my girl MJB, Real Love.
okay.
Started it all, so I'm jamming.
All right, sister. Well, I am not mad at you for that because we all could use a little jam every now and then in our life. Let me see. I'm trying to get this watch party started here. So if you're out there, welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. If you would please share this on your pages and share with your friends and family so they can be a part of the conversation tonight. We are going to do a little bit of a change of pace than what we normally do. Every now and then we come together, just the two of us, Shout out to the late great Bill Withers. Yep. And normally we'll do like an evening of hot topics or something like that. But tonight we want to do something just a little different because we have been in the quarantine. Y'all in the quarantine.
We're in the quarantine.
We all in the quarantine. And while in quarantine, we have been consuming a lot more television. And so we want to just talk about what are some of the fun things that we're watching and what we want to watch. Maybe even some of the things that we want to read. But if you're out there and you are in the sound of my voice, come on into the conversation in the comments. We want you to participate with us tonight. And yeah, Jamie Foxx and Teddy Riley, but Beyonce made another appearance, right?
Beyonce is in there, but apparently Beyonce is someone we need to know. So Breon Prescott. So hey, let me get my life and figure out and know more about this brother, because apparently he has a 3-decade-long career in the music industry and has worked with the likes of Jamie Foxx, obviously, Brandy, our estranged Kanye West. So he has a long story history in the music industry. So yeah, shout out to Beyonce back on it, letting us know he can hide the party.
One of the things I love about that and that story is that you don't always have to be seen to be known. You know what I'm saying? And he's somebody who clearly came into all of our households through the Teddy Riley and Babyface part one of the battle that brought us all the comedy in the world. But again, obviously the brother's been on his grind behind the scene, and you don't have to be seen to be known. And I think that's a very powerful message and lesson for all of us to take today. But that's a little bit of sprinkle of that what Vantage Point Coaching does. Just sprinkle a little gem on you, just a little sprackle. Bam! Okay. You better catch it. If you didn't catch it, you missed it.
Well, you better catch when Jamie Foxx just went in on Teddy Riley, like, don't you ever say somebody is better than you. That's another thing, another lesson.
Lessons all around us. If you want them, the lessons are always there. You just have to be open to receive them. But tonight we're going to talk about what are you watching? So if you're out there, join us in the comments. Tell us what shows you're watching, what you are loving, what you're hating, what's been the hits and the misses. We want to see you in the conversation in the comments this evening, and tell us, what are you watching? So first up, can we talk about the graduation last night?
Yes.
Let's talk about the graduation.
Now, let me just be clear. I only saw the HBCU graduation. I did not see the graduation last night because I was so aggravated with the handyman who came over here. After that, I was like, you know what? I can't do it. But let's talk about it, because I will go back and watch that too.
Well, if you did not have an opportunity, that is the wonderful thing about these platforms. It's still available for you to watch.
Yes.
So on YouTube, you can go back and watch it. But we had a 2-part activity, actually it went into 2 days of activities to celebrate the class of 2020. So 2:00 on Saturday, May 16th, that was yesterday. There was sponsored by Chase. There was Show Me Your Walk. It was to celebrate all the graduating classes of historically Black colleges and universities. Something that's definitely near and dear to both of our hearts because we are HBCU alums. And obviously the highlight of the show was President Barack Obama. But even throughout the entire program, there was so much positivity, motivation, and inspiration. And as we know, Black excellence that's born from the HBCU experience. We were in for a treat, just the entire program from beginning to end. It was probably 2 of the best hours that I've spent since I've been in quarantine. And then the icing on the cake was the closing speech by President Barack Obama. And then later on that evening, across every broadcast channel, so I chose to watch it through CNN. So there were 2 hours. There was the 7 to 8 o'clock, and then the 8 to 9 p.m., the Graduate Together Eastern time zone, so my time zone. And in the first hour, we got a little 10-minute snippet from President Bill Clinton, who also in 10 minutes succinct gave a very powerful, clear, poignant message for the graduates. And the Graduate Together program that was broadcast really on all of the broadcast and cable channels was for high school graduates. And while President Barack Obama had a very similar speech to the one he gave to the HBCU graduates, he tailored the message for the high school audience. And I just thought it was phenomenal. We have a comment here from someone said they enjoyed both. I most definitely enjoyed both, and just am remotivated, re-inspired to do what is within my control and within my power to make not just my world, but our entire world a better place. I don't know. What about you, sister?
I think that's if that's what we get from these conversations, then that is very powerful. That's exactly what we should be getting from these conversations. That's exactly what we should be getting out of this time of quarantine in general. Like when we go back, quote unquote, outside and we get back to some of the activities that we were accustomed to before. I don't want to say get back to normal because that's part of the lesson, right? What was normal before isn't necessarily the best, wasn't necessarily the best, particularly for Black and brown people. So if we come out of this wanting to be better people, wanting to do more service, wanting to help someone else along the way, then this quarantine will not have been in vain. However, if we come out of this with some of the same foolery in which we came into it, and we don't feel inspired to do something different, we don't feel motivated to be better people, then it will have been a waste of time, and the lives that were lost during this time would absolutely have been lost in vain. So yeah, I think that's what we should be coming out of these conversations with. How can we be better people, better humans?
Kiana says she watched with her daughter, who is a class of 2020 graduate. She says she enjoyed both programs. She watched with her daughter and chuckled when she heard the shade. And she also says his message was very inspiring. I will say this, shade. See, when there's facts, I don't know if it is shade. I just think it's truth telling.
Yeah.
Because shade was meant, if you watch the documentary Paris is Burning, shade was meant to be like a put down. and or an exaggeration about something to diminish you in a way. I don't know if it was diminishing. I mean, when it's truth telling, the truth is powerful, and sometimes the truth just hurts. I don't know. Like they say, you either could say ouch or amen. And I was saying, hallelujah. And that's what I was saying. I don't know about y'all. What were y'all saying out there? For those of you who are watching, when you watched the Graduate Together and the Show Me Your Walk graduation, and you watched all the speeches and the energy, what were you saying? You know, so let's say, oh yeah, 100% truth with class.
I was gonna say I did see on Twitter President Obama's comments, and they were truthful. I mean, when you can have a title and you can be in positions of power, and that doesn't necessarily make you a powerful person, an intelligent person, or a good person.
And you can have a title and not be a leader.
Exactly. You can have the title and not be a leader. And what we know for sure is quite a number of people, you know, we'll talk about becoming later, but the bar can change for different people. So I think that the points that were being made, to your point, I don't know if it's shade, but it was definitely, maybe it was some Kenny Babyface Edmonds sort of, let me just point this out to you.
Let me highlight this.
Yes, let me showcase or highlight, give you some pointers about life and examples to go along with those pointers.
For sure. Well, if you are watching on the watch party, you want to get involved and have your comments come up on screen, make sure you go over to the Hey Sister page and watch there. Share in the comment section. Please start a watch party of your own so that your friends and family can participate and join along in the program as well. Because it's always fun to have these conversations with a few good friends. So since you brought up becoming, let's talk about becoming. So, if you've been under a rock, you probably have not heard the title Becoming, but Becoming is the name of the autobiography of the one Michelle Obama. And it is now a Netflix documentary, and it's a retelling of the tour that she did, the book tour that she did. And it's mixed in, it's documentary style, but it's also a little mix of storytelling. It's views from the stage, behind the stage, some of the community work that she's continuing to do through their Obama Foundation. And I thought it was absolutely delightful. Sister, what did you think about Becoming?
I agree. I am always, what I love the most is that forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, is just so poised, so classy. And, you know, you and I often talk about the Obamas are a special kind of people, because when you see the type of hate and malice and just negativity that's spewed at them on a regular basis, you know, that can really impact your psyche if you're not a very strong person. And so I love that, you know, she's a down-to-earth woman. I love that her mother is her mother and don't care nothing about her being the first lady. Like, you still my baby Shelly, and that's it. You know, I love the relationship that she has with her brother and his family. I loved, you know, going back to her childhood home, and you know, just how, like, she talks through the shifts in her classes, like when she started off in first grade and what the mix looked like by the time she got to eighth grade, what that looked like. And so with gentrification and or white flight, out of south side of Chicago. But I just love that she really is an authentic person who was willing to share the ups and the downs. And what I took away from a lot of it was, man, it is that idea of trying to be perfect. That is something, because again, it goes back to something that I've said many times here. Sometimes it feels like you can't win for losing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that idea of perfect and the pressure of perfection, right? And all that she had to withstand, and as she said, in more depth in the book than in the documentary, but just trying to show up authentically. The attacks, unwarranted, unfair, blatantly racist, sexist attacks of her person, not of anything she said, but of her person, of who she was as a human being, as a woman, as an educated woman, as a sister, as a daughter. That the pain of that, and having to go inside, like go really deep inside to keep it all together. The pressure of that alone would break even the strongest of people. And so the becoming, as she's becoming, I love the end seeing the daughters talk to their mother, with their mother, and also about their mother. And like, I'm so happy to see you finally getting to be you. You know, after having put yourself on hold, or part of your desires on hold, to support his dreams, and now to see your dreams become. And I thought that was just very powerful. And it is something that women have been doing throughout the ages. So we have a Jody comment here. Hey, Jody, she says, I was saying, come save us, when she was seeing President Obama speak. And we have one of our class of 2020.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations. I love seeing his social distance graduation party, and his grandmother and mom put together the goodie bags and the plates, and people were coming to get them plates. I tell you that.
They were. I know they were. But
so cute. Yeah, so congratulations, Cam. We're very proud of you.
We're very, very proud of you, Cam. I was gonna say one of the things that with becoming that I thought about was, you know, last week when we talked to Randall, he was talking about how the bar, again, the bar.
Russell?
Right? Huh?
Russell.
I'm sorry.
What Randall we talking to?
Yeah, who is Randall? And I knew I had the right name. I am so sorry. Russell, if you're watching, I am sorry, because you were great. Okay. Girl, well, maybe I was having a "this is us" moment. Sorry, but anyway, when he was talking about the bar, and it really made me think back to when I worked for the Worldwide Leader, and I had a former boss who basically kind of told me about having an MBA like no one cared, because as long as that wasn't what those in higher positions, as long as they didn't have it, it didn't matter. Now, if they had it, then the expectation would be that everybody else had to meet that bar. And it made me think about how Russell was saying that, you know, President Obama set a high bar, like he and his wife, as one of the most educated. I would say, you know, maybe they rival maybe the Clintons might give them something in comparison, but you know, just highly educated, decorated, respectful. Like, they set this very high bar, and the minute we set a high bar, then after that it's kind of like, well, you really don't need all of that. And obviously we see the results of that. But it's like, as a first lady, she was criticized for so much, and she had to change the way, you know, she wore her makeup and her hair, and then she had to temper her speeches, because being authentic and speaking what she thought was truth became, weaponized. Yes. And she had to change her wardrobe and all of these things because she was painted immediately as the angry Black woman, which, we've talked about that. It's okay for us to be angry as long as we're doing the dirty work, to be the pit bull. But once, our anger sounds like a little bit of the truth towards some people, they don't like it.
Accountability,
yes. Yeah. When anger sounds like accountability for some, they have a problem with it. But but she set such a high bar, and it's fascinating that what all she had to go through, and then yet now we see what's the current status of the position of First Lady, let's just call it that. And I mean, we don't even know where she is. I hope I feel like she could get knocked out and we wouldn't even know, because she's nowhere to be found. She hasn't been required to have a platform. She hasn't.
Girl, you know about Be Best, stop.
Yeah, right. Because that happened. When did we come out with that remix anyway?
Oh yeah.
But and I like the comment that came from Nashana there. How dare she show those fabulous arms? Right, that was a scandal, and the tan suit a scandal, and it was like, that's the best y'all can do. That's the best y'all can do. And now they still trying it even now, but
best is
yeah, but maybe listen, I don't know what old girl's doing. I just hope she's not in harm's way. But I just say all that to say it's funny how the standard changes, because to hear some people say how she is so beautiful and she's so this and she's so that, and I'm like, what are we talking about? Maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed the memo. But what I saw in Michelle Obama, what I saw in the entire Obama family, was class personified, grace under fire. Y'all would have caught me on a hot mic at least one time cussing somebody else. And you're muted, sister. You're muted.
Oh, I said at least one time. Barbara Bush was on a hot mic a couple times.
You would have caught me at least one time calling somebody out of their name.
But it's interesting you talk about that, and maybe it's political party or what affiliation or what have you, because we something that we both watched was the Hillary documentary on Hulu, and we saw some of the same things that were done to her. So it's totally is not about her dress, about her being a lawyer and her making money and all of these different things. So I don't know where the bar is or what the standard is. Mm-hmm. But the standard only applies one way sometimes, and that's so very, very frustrating. We have another comment here. Oh, I know I would have been caught on a hot mic. So I'd be like, I don't care, because let me tell you, Miss Lindsay, go sit down.
Right. Yeah, Miss Lindsay. I just want him.
Lindsay and Turtleneck needs to go sit down, and I don't even need to say no names. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But we're gonna move on right on along.
Wait, let me just say this one last part. Like you said, the end was inspiring. Going back to Bryant Park, right? Grant Park. Grant Park, and seeing the night that President Obama won, to be able to see Sasha and Malia like grow up, right, and just as beautiful as they want to be, but I loved more than anything to see, on the tour. She is like Michelle Obama. I wish I could have gone, but she's a fabulous storyteller. I love what she said about her and Barack going to counseling even, because look, at the end of the day, like she said, it looks like #relationship goals, but everything requires work. I love her wearing her Balenciaga shoes that look like the socks, or however Cardi B says it. But I love that every person who came through her line when she was signing books, she touched them, she hugged, she, smiled, they are crying, hyperventilating, and she just really welcomed every single person. And so whatever she's becoming, she's already great. So whatever she's becoming is only going to be better.
Yes. And I think that's the key takeaway. As we said, with the graduation ceremony, it's about inspiring us to be better. I think that's also the message for becoming, is that if you are a living, breathing human being, we're in this constant evolution of growth and becoming our better selves, the next level. And I think there's just so much power in that. And so let's talk about something everybody's been watching, but you and I have not been watching. I think I watched the first 2 episodes, and that's The Last Dance. So I know a lot of you have been watching The Last Dance. Get on up into these comments. We have some comments coming in about Michelle Obama. We'll bring those up on the screen later. But The Last Dance is the story of I can't remember, 90 whatever Bulls, when that was the last year, 92, I think. I can't remember. 98, 99, 2000, for the 99 and the 2000. I really don't remember, because I'm not watching the full documentary. I watched the first 2 episodes. I've obviously watched some of the commentary with my husband as he watched the replays and stuff on ESPN. And it's Michael Jordan's story. I know tonight is the last 2 episodes. It was a 10-part series. It actually was supposed to premiere in June, but due to the quarantine, they moved it up. I saw one of the producer director of the program. He said he was doing the edits today before he finally sends it off, the final edits. And he's going to watch it tonight with everybody else. But if you are watching The Last Dance, we have one comment. MJ is at $sign. Well, we know he definitely has some dollar signs.
Yeah, okay, guys.
So you and I had a conversation about this a day or so ago. So I really wasn't a Bulls fan. I love watching great basketball. I love great champions. I think basketball has changed a lot in ways that I don't recognize the game that I was taught as a young person, or that I even played in high school. And I can love and appreciate the talent, but there was some things about the person this is all I'm gonna say about The Last Dance. I'm gonna say this to all the producers and all y'all watching. I ain't seen Juanita interview, and so I'm gonna leave it at that, because for every man to reach any level of success that he attained, there was a woman who put up with a whole lot of stuff, and I want to know what her last season was like.
Ooh. Well, I will say, I think that if you pull up Jody's comment, I think that's kind of the summation of what I've felt for a long time. I take nothing away from MJ being a phenomenal basketball player. I wasn't a huge Bulls fan growing up. I grew up, like you said, fundamental basketball. And I really feel like there was some rules that changed after MJ's era, but
you could walk, carry, you could do all kind of things if you were Michael Jordan. I was like, and still to this day, I'm like, we
saw a lot in terms of what it means to have home court advantage, but I think you and I were talking about, like, with Isaiah Thomas, and saying, for example, when they played the Celtics, it was no love. Like, nobody was friends. So if at the end of the game, I walked away from you and I didn't talk to you, and I just threw up the deuces on you, it was because that's what it was. That was the competition that was associated with basketball. And quite frankly, sometimes, and my friends and I have talked about this too, sometimes after a loss, some of these folks just really run over to the other team.
They real gleeful.
Real gleeful. And I'm like, no, no, I gotta at least want to punch you in the throat or something. Like, I'm not saying you do it, but that's the spirit of the competition. So
even, and they were best friends at the time. Even in the playoffs, Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson scuffled a little bit with one another. And we were like, wait a minute, y'all friends, y'all was kissing before the game and hugging, and now y'all fighting.
Right.
You know,
made me like, I remember being sad at that moment. So I don't know. I don't think, I mean, look, I was told before the series premiere, if you loved him, you would continue to love him. If you didn't love him, you probably would dislike him even more after this. And like I said, I just think it boils down to, I like people to use their platform for something more than selling tennis shoes. So that's where I'm at with it. But hey.
You said selling t-shirts. It wasn't the t-shirts.
Oh, I said tennis shoes. I'm
tennis
sorry.
Shoes. Okay, I'm about to say.
I said tennis shoes like we back in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, shoes.
But he built a brand. He built a $1 billion brand in Nike. Nike became a $1 billion brand because of the affiliation with Michael Jordan. It was definitely a mutually financially beneficial relationship for those two, and for athletes to follow, like a Serena Williams or a Colin Kaepernick, who have been able to affiliate and align themselves with Nike to expand their platform. So there is some good, but The Last Dance, the last 2 episodes are tonight. I will probably go back and watch it. Like I said, I watched the first 2 episodes, and you know, the feelings and resentment that there's still some things that's clearly you can see in a human being that they have never fully gotten over or moved through. And to me, that's sad to be in the 5th decade.
Years old and you still, but you know,
not quite 100, but in the 5th decade of your life, and have
I said 150. I know he ain't 100 or 150, but the point is, if you have more money than you'll ever spend, we already said we don't know Juanita perspective. Would love to hear that, but you was on the road doing your Thug Fist 90. You a new, fresh out the box wife. I mean,
and he just built some beautiful some clinics in his home of North Carolina, his hometown, in order to serve underserved populations. So I think he may be getting to the point where he's doing some of those good things. We have another comment here. He also has had a gambling problem, not just a competition problem. There may be problems. I can't speculate on what all the problems are, but I know that.
I wanted to say to that point though, I guess I just trip out because so many of us, and when I say us, I'm going to talk about the people who ain't yet multimillionaires. If you are one, this doesn't apply to you. But for myself, I guess so often we believe that, you know, there is this thing that we're striving for. And like, if you're a person who's hit all of those things, you've had accolades that nobody else will ever accomplish. You have more money than you can spend. Again, you're married. Now you are doing some philanthropic stuff, which is great. What else do you want? Because if you still holding on to old grudges, I'm just not sure where you go in your life or in your spirit to move on.
Well, maybe he's just not become yet. Maybe he's still becoming.
Perhaps.
Damn. So let's talk about some of the other things and why. So we're going to run through a couple things real fast. So, you know, the point of this show tonight is to have a little light-hearted conversation, a little levity, and talk about what are you watching. So tell us what you're watching in the comments so that we can see if it's something that we've watched. We wanted to hit on a couple things that we both watched. That's why we started off with Becoming. one of the things that my sister is rewatching is The Wire on HBO. And so if you've never watched The Wire,
actually, I'm rewatching it on Amazon and not on HBO.
Well, it is an HBO program, and she's rewatching on Amazon. I think HBO was doing a little free trial for people as well, so you can go get your binge on 5 seasons of one of the best shows ever in the existence of television, grounded in the drug and heroin, specifically crisis in the Baltimore, Maryland area back in the early 90s. And it's a crime drama. It's a street drama. It's gritty, grimy, and it's one of the best things that I've ever seen on TV. And it introduced the one, the only Idris Elba to that broad audience. And I'm here for it.
By the way, I don't know about you, but Idris did not call me to let me know how his COVID situation is going. So I don't know if anyone knows how Idris is.
He's recovered, girl. I've talked to him.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
great.
I've spoken to him, yes. So he's doing good. He and his wife are doing good. So one of the things I know that both of us are watching, and so we're going to talk about TV shows real quick. So we mentioned The Wire. So under TV shows, one of the things that we're both watching, also another HBO show, is Insecure. Who's watching Insecure? Y'all let us know if you're watching Insecure out there in the comments. Rosalind Ross, I know you're watching, and I know you're watching Insecure. I've been watching Insecure since it started. I watched Awkward Black Girl when Issa Rae still was just trying to come up on a on the YouTube channel and doing her shows there. So I absolutely love watching Insecure. Sister, what you say about Insecure right now?
So before we go, before I jump in, I want to acknowledge Kiana mentioned For Life. I don't know if that's the 50 Cent show on ABC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the one we're referencing. I haven't watched it, but
okay,
if that's a recommendation, Kiana, I'm happy to add it to my to watch list. Yeah. Insecure. I really don't know what's happening with Molly and Issa D right now. I don't understand where we're going here. And my friend and I were having a conversation the other day about it. Because I've been having this conversation with a few people because I'm really trying to play back in my mind. This is why they can't take so long to come back with a show. Because I've forgotten what happened last season other than Coachella and Tiffany being pregnant. Like, I've forgotten a lot. So I'm going back in my mind, like, how did we go off the rails? Where did we go off the rails? Where did we begin to unravel as in our friendship? Maybe it was, Issa's relationship with Nathan that Molly had some issues with. Maybe it's Molly's relationship with, what's his name, Andrew or whatever, that she herself is having some issues with. I don't know, but I feel like, so earlier you were defining shade. I feel like there has been some shade thrown from both parties, but I feel like it's very often rooted in some truth. I do think to some extent both of them have seemingly, because I've said it about people before, I'll be like, some people, I'm like, I think they like drama in their life. You and I have had those conversations before. So I kind of look at it the same way. It does seem like both of them like a little tad bit smattering of drama in their lives. So I don't know, when you call it out, are you being a hater or are you being a good friend? I don't know. Maybe it's the way you call it out. But I don't know. Somebody has to help me understand where did we go wrong?
Where did we go wrong? Tell me what went wrong. That's an LTD girl. Hey.
Yes, that's why I referenced it.
Hey. and maybe we can fix it. What's wrong between us? Hey.
So I want to hear folks who are watching. Tell me, because
Yes, tell us what y'all think went wrong between Molly and Issa. I'll tell you what I think. I think that relationships evolve over time. I think that if you're not evolving together, you're evolving apart. And I think that they both have had this little bit of where I'll tell you the commentary I have seen on in social media, interwebs, and what have you. It is everybody's attacking the one character, the Molly character, which I think is unfair, right?
Exactly.
Because Molly is the character who has done the check the boxes of life, right? So she went to school, she got the good job, she did the sorority, she's an attorney, she all the check the boxes. She's unlucky in love and involved in a relationship that was toxic and now has moved on from that. But she tried to check all the boxes, but in that insecurity of not having that one piece complete in a relationship, she kind of was going down a bad road. And now she's trying to go on a different road. And so she's trying to evolve in this area, this one piece of her life. And that has caused some challenges. You have Issa, who has always been just a little on the margins, a little more free spirit, had the stable relationship and sabotaged it. She sabotaged it because she wanted something else. And now having regrets about that. And so someone says miscommunication, shade to one another. I think both people are if someone says now that friendships they must grow. They must grow and evolve. I believe that if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. And I think this is a part in their lives where they're growing apart. And they've never really sat down and had a mature adult woman-to-woman conversation about it.
Right.
They are just stuck in their position, and they want to be the victim. Each of them want to be the victim of the other.
Yes.
Because that's what the role they also used to play in each other's life is, I'm gonna gas you up and you gonna gas me up, because that's how we support each other, by gassing each other up and behind the scenes against everybody else. But in this situation, I don't have you to gas me up because you're the one tearing me down and I'm the one tearing you down.
Yeah, I was telling this to one of my my soror that's I walk with. I said, it's funny to me because I feel like Kelly tells all of them about themselves, and yet nobody gets mad at Kelly. And I liken that to one of my real good friends who I always say, girl, you can cuss folks out, and they'll be like, girl, you're so crazy. I say, but if I say the same exact thing, it'll be like, I know she didn't say that to me. And I'm like, I don't get it. So I definitely feel like Kelly clowns all of them, but nobody takes offense to it. And I will say this, since Nicole is in the comments here, many moons ago, she and I had a falling out. I don't remember the details of it, but what I do know is for about 2 years, we didn't communicate with each other. And hope you don't mind me telling this, but anyway, but in doing so, when we did talk again, it was like one of our mutual friends, I was still living in LA. We were both still living in LA at the time. One of our mutual friends came to town, called her on the phone, and then was like, oh, Nicole wants to talk to you. And I was like, all right, cool. And it was, I will never forget. She started off, Chrissy, I love you. I don't care what it was that we had a problem with, I love you and I want us to, get together. I was like, cool. And since then, even though that was, thank you, even though that was a struggle at the time, I think that having that falling out was one of the best things that could have happened to us, Because since then, I've never felt like there's anything that I can't tell her, or I've never felt like there's anything that she can't tell me. And we, I mean, I'm not here to try to tear her down and vice versa, but we can have mature, honest conversations. Be like, get yourself together, pull yourself together now. You need to, this, and have those honest conversations. So I think my hope is for these fictional characters that I'm investing a lot of time into right now. I'm hoping that they will have that moment of maturity and come together and grow, like Nicole alluded to, friendships growing.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, that's the evolution of friendships and relationships. So you and Nicole have known each other over many years, just like those characters, Molly and Issa, have known each other over many years. They're in their 30s now. Their life is changing. They're starting to look at their lives differently, what their hopes and desires are differently. And it requires to be able to have honest conversations. And I want to know from people, as I watch people's commentary about the show, I want to know from folks who are out there watching, what relationship comes without conflict? Mm-hmm. What relationship comes without a time where
I would say the inauthentic one?
Well, that may be, but I think even in inauthentic relationships, people have conflict. They just bury it and keep it going, or they have the dysfunction and toxicity. But even you and I, as sisters, have had arguments. You have been mad at me, and I've been perplexed by you. Like,
oh, okay, sure, that. Like the folks, I'll let the folks in the comments.
For sure. But again, what relationships don't have conflict? But if they're rooted in love, you can get back to a stronger foundation like you all were able to. We have some comments here. I wonder why Molly and Issa became friends. What was the situation that started their friendship? That's an interesting thing that we'd have to explore. What started their friendship?
Did we talk about that at all in the first season, or it was just kind of at that point? I know Molly was, not Molly, Issa was still working for We Got Y'all. So I feel like we were introduced to the characters, but not necessarily
Were they college friends? Did they go to school together?
I might be making all of that up in my mind.
I don't know. We're gonna have to go on the Google machine and check it out. Yes. So we have one, not a single one. That's right. No relation. Another one. I'm not aware of any. Right. All relationships have some sort of conflict. So hopefully the characters of Molly and Issa will get it together. There's another episode that is on tonight that you can watch and check it out, and we'll see where they progress to. All right, so I'm gonna run down a bunch of little TV shows here.
And hey, if folks in the comments have watched them, let me just be clear. Christina, it's very challenging for her to watch more than one thing at a time. So like The Wire, I'm just wrapping up the first season. And I probably feel like I have to watch all of the seasons before I can move on to my next project. So it's just a me thing. But my sister has been watching a lot. So if anybody's watched any of this stuff, y'all jump on in those comments.
And some of these are new things or things that I'm watching now. Some of these things I have already watched, and I watched them months ago. Or some of them I will, again, once you get to be a certain age, so some of y'all out there who are of a certain age, sometimes you wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you be like, okay, let me turn this TV on so I fall back to sleep at 4, 5 in the morning. You knock a few things out real quick like that. So one of the things that both of us, I've watched, sister hasn't watched, is Little Fires Everywhere. If you haven't watched Little Fires Everywhere, it is one that you should put on your to-do list. It is on Hulu. Oh. It stars Reese Witherspoon and Carrie Washington.
Not Carrie.
Beat myself up for that. It is a phenomenal program is based on a book. I haven't read the book, so I don't know what it's about. But Little Fires Everywhere. We got a yes for that. Yes, 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 yes. Little Fires Everywhere. It is phenomenally done, acted, the conflicts. It's just so well done. But it reminds me of another show that Reese Witherspoon is in that is on HBO called Big Little Lies. Because when I was watching, I was like, why is Reese Witherspoon playing the exact same character? But she just does a great job doing it. So it says, my daughter told me about it. I enjoyed it. It's very well done. I encourage you to watch that. Let's see, what else do we have on here? Something that where sister is watching now. I finished a couple of weeks ago on Netflix is Hollywood. Hollywood. So I'm gonna type these in the comments here so folks can know.
So I guess Nicole is a fan. Wait, which one, Nicole? You talking about Hollywood or Little Fires Everywhere?
We're talking about Little Fires Everywhere, I'm sure.
Got you.
But right. Hollywood. Hollywood. Listen, so Hollywood, I actually, one of the things I do when I watch a show, I start looking for articles and stories. So what I did find is that, she's talking about Big Little Lies. Yes, okay. Big Little Lies is a good one. That's the stuff. With Hollywood, it is inspired by true stories. It is inspired by a book. And so I won't give much away, but I will say this. If Hollywood had the bravery to do what they actually do in this series, we would be so much further along in society. And yes, Lakeisha, I just saw about the producer who just passed away, the director. I can't remember her name. I saw Ava DuVernay give her a shout out as well, who is a director and producer of some of these shows that we're talking about right now. I'll have type her name in, Google it, Keisha, and type her name in and let us know who she is. But she just passed away. But Hollywood, what is Hollywood about? So Hollywood is based in the 1940s, 50s Hollywood. It's about a lot of the secret lives of a lot of the celebrities at that time, as well as what went on behind the scenes at studios and big budget films and casting couch and so many, many different things. And when we learn of stories like a Bill Cosby and what he did and was able to get away with, or Harvey Weinstein and what he did and was able to get away with, when you watch Hollywood, you will understand that so much of this has been so pervasive in the movie making industry for years. So sister, I see you doing research.
Yeah, her name is Lynn Shelton. She's the director of Hump Day and Little Fires Everywhere. Dies at 54 and of a blood disorder. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but what they do in Hollywood is they reimagine that if one person has enough courage to break through the norms, how we all advance forward. And that's, to me, what the main theme is and the main takeaway from it to me. So, yes, Hollywood does have Black characters. I won't say many, but prominent.
Let's be clear.
More than 2, 3. Many but prominent.
I thought there were 2 prominent characters. Yeah. You just said 3. Like 3 is not like a whole bunch more than 2.
It's not a whole bunch. I mean, the cast ain't but like 12 people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Someone said here, Hitchcock was on his set. Oh, Hitchcock was insane on his sets. Yes, he was insane. But there's even more. This is about some of the sordid details.
Well, listen, again, Nicole and I both lived in Los Angeles, so it ain't all that sordid. I think, I live in North Hollywood. It used to be the porn capital of the world. I mean, technically, I'm sure it still is because that's where they have a studio, Vivid Entertainment, as people know. So, I mean, is it like there's not a whole lot that necessarily surprised me about the quote unquote sordid details, if you will. What I will say is, and you and I were having this conversation earlier, because number one, so when there's this mix of inspired by, based on true life things, and then fiction, like a lot of fiction, sometimes that gets a little confusing for me, because if you're not the type of person that does the additional layer of research to find out, okay, how much of this is true, how much of this is they've taken creative liberties, et cetera, then sometimes it's easy to think that like this is the exact story. And I alluded to the one that they had, the story that was recently done about Madam C.J. Walker, right? If you just left it at what we saw there, you would think there was this big colorism issue that occurred between Madam C.J. Walker and I forgot what the character's name was, but it was based on Annie Malone. So if you didn't do your own research, you would assume like that was it. And I think because we're in this world of misinformation, and because we're in a world where you have a lot of access, but people don't utilize that access, sometimes I think stories like this that blend a little bit of the truth and a little bit of fiction can do us a disservice. Sometimes like it's great, but it can sometimes do a disservice. I will say, you and I talked about Rock Hudson, so there was actually a Rock Hudson. We all know that he passed away of AIDS. We know that he was closeted for many, many years. And it wasn't until the diagnosis that he came out of the quote unquote closet. And so Rock Hudson is portrayed as our, Vivian Lee, Tallulah Bankhead, a few other characters. Hattie McDaniel, people who actually lived, they are portrayed in Hollywood. And so, but I will tell you, I struggled a little bit with how much, especially this Rock Hudson character, how much he was willing to endure to quote unquote make it. And that's what I'll put on. And yes, I love OG because I see you type that one. But yeah, that was.
I was just starting to type some in there because there's a bunch of them and so yes, Anna Wong was also a real person. So if you Google Hollywood, I would say if you watch Hollywood, then go do Google and research, and you'll see the book that it's based on and all. The who were real characters and how they tried to weave some of their stories in. So I just tried to type in a bunch of names of shows. So Dead to Me is in season 2 on Netflix. It dropped. It stars Christina Applegate. I can't remember the other actress name. She's been in a lot of stuff. It's one of those dark stories, twists and turns. Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Good acting, great storytelling in that. Instant Hotel. Instant Hotel is a reality show. It's based in Australia. It was recommended from my friend who lives in Canada. I enjoyed it. Instant Hotel, just think about a competition show where you go around, if you turn your home into an Airbnb, and you go around and visit the different homes. I loved it because you get to see all of the beautiful scenery and landscapes of Australia. That is one of the places that I really want to go and probably live there for a month so I can experience the entire continent of Australia. Let's see, The Hunters on Amazon Prime. So it is one that is also inspired by real life events of the people who survived the Holocaust and going back and seeking revenge on some of their persecutors who were Nazi soldiers here in the United States. So very good show. It's on Amazon Prime. Called the Midwife. So Called the Midwife is in its current season on PBS. It is season 8. It's also on Netflix. So if it's something that you could go and watch over time, it's wonderful. I got my OBGYN friend to watch it because it's just so fascinating, because I would look up the names of some of the drugs and the techniques and the things that they used and would talk to her about it. And it's very, very insightful, but it's also based on someone's real life story that they wrote their book. And the lady actually passed away. They basically nurses, nurse midwives starting in the 40s, 50s in England. And as we know, they have a national health service. So people would go to your home and visit you and give you treatment. Fascinating, because we know their healthcare system is a lot different than ours. Let's see what else we have on here. I put The Last OG in there. Keisha says she's watching Unsung and Unsung Hollywood, learning a lot. Yes, I have not watched Unsung since I've gotten rid of cable. And so I have to go back and find a way to get Unsung, because both of us are cord cutters. So we don't have cable. Let's see what else. Let's see. Yes, Rock Hudson was married. All American. I've not watched All American. I've heard great things about All American. Our mother watched All American.
I watched All American as well.
You have?
Yeah.
All of it.
I did. And I would like to say, for those who don't know about Bella Noche in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, there was a young lady a few years ago who went viral for saying a phrase, if you can't go to Bella Noche, where the hell could you go? And she went viral, and Tay Diggs' character even references that on All American. So I was like, okay, Hazel and her friend, y'all better be out here, a part of the American lexicon, coming from out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
So Kiana says Black Lightning. I stopped watching Black Lightning after the first season. I watched the first season and I watched the first half of the second season. But I'll tell you something about television shows I despise right now. All of these damn breaks. When you do a mid-season break, you don't want me to watch. You want me to wait till you get to Netflix, because people just watch the season finale of How to Get Away with Murder. I was hanging in there with How to Get Away with Murder. Like some people still hanging in there with Grey's Anatomy. I was hanging in there with How to Get Away with Murder. But when you do a winter break and you really wasn't like that awe-inspiring, but I was trying to hang in there because I tried to support Viola, and you really wasn't that awe-inspiring, it's just kind of like, eh. So that second half of the season I haven't even seen. So we have The Masked Singer. If you want something that's fun, lighthearted, it's fun and lighthearted. But there's so many good things out there to watch. So much.
The Masked Singer is reality, so it's not scripted. So it's a little.
It's not. Yeah, the Masked Singer is on Fox. It's about to have its season finale this week. It's a fun, lighthearted thing to watch.
I'm laughing at Lakeisha. Lakeisha, you are the only person I know still watching Grey's Anatomy, because, child, I know who just left, Alex or something, and I don't even know how I really know that.
Billions just came back on Showtime. So if you never watched Billions, it was recommended to me last year. I watched and caught up to the current season. And I watched the first episode of the current season, and I'm like, I think I'll just wait till the season's over, because it's kind of like, some series like a Grey's Anatomy, like a How to Get Away with Murder, they start going on so long, it's just like wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. The storylines become so much of the same that they just don't move me anymore. And that's kind of where I was with that program. But coming up, what's coming up? What's coming up? The Chi is going to be coming back. They're going to have new episodes. So I'm glad that they were able to get through production to be able to bring episodes. Because a lot of shows that we watched, they did not finish production before COVID and before the pandemic hit. If you want to watch a really, really good movie on Netflix, Unorthodox. It's about someone leaving and separating themselves. It's based on a true story, separating themselves. It's not a movie, it's actually like a 5-part series, but separating themselves from their very Orthodox Jewish family and faith. And it's very, very interesting.
So over here on my watch party, I had Reginald Coatney. Hey, Reginald, saying The Last Dance. We talked about The Last Dance a little bit. Reginald might have been before you tuned in. Chantelly Lace said All American was good. And then she says, I'm obsessed with 90 Day Fiance before the 90 Days Abroad. So funny. And then she's like saying yes to The Chi. So, I never watched 90 Day Fiance. I may have to try that in terms of a guilty pleasure.
Yes, I didn't do 90 Day Fiance or Love is Blind. Keisha's still crying at Grey's Anatomy. But one of your other guilty pleasures you still watching is The Housewives. Girl, I stopped watching them. I can't watch them no more. But you watch this.
I do. I watch the foolery. I mean, sometimes it's just like when our mom watches Maury Povich. Every now and again, you got to know that your life ain't that bad. I mean, you see these grown women who live in nice homes, even if they're renting them, and seemingly start businesses that I don't even know that they qualified to start, but hey, they're doing it. I have to say, but then I just sit there and be like, if y'all really, again, it goes back to like what we were saying about The Last Dance, what I'm saying about Michael Jordan. I don't understand when you reach a certain level, how you still holding on to grudges with people like you don't even have to be around. I mean, I guess you have to be around them because of the show, but I'm like, it's just funny. It's mindless television.
And there's a show called Unreal that is all about reality TV shows and the behind the scenes and the producers and what they do. And it's kind of a behind the scenes of a show like The Bachelor type of thing. So that's a show that I did binge watch and when I was waking up in the middle of the night, and it's pretty good. So someone says Bosch on Amazon Prime. Haven't watched that. Hamilton, for those who never got to see Hamilton on Broadway, it will be on Disney Plus on July 4th. We have
thank you, Jody.
Jody's still watching. And then Keisha said Housewives of America. I watch a few. Shameful.
It's not. It just allows us to see the foolery, and sometimes you have to look at it and say, you know what? My life isn't that bad. But I tell you one thing, like I said, if I look at these folks going out, starting businesses, I have to ask myself, what is holding me back? Because they're not smarter than me. They don't have, yes, they have more access, obviously, with this platform. But, I got to rethink, folks got hair care lines and knowing full well they wearing hair pieces, but won't admit to it. I'm like...
Well, I will say this for everybody that's out there. Thank you for tuning in tonight. There's so many more things that we could talk about, things that we've watched, things that are on our list to watch. But most importantly, we want to thank you for watching us and tuning in and being part of the Hey Sister family. So we ask that you like, follow, and share. Tell all your friends to become a part of our community. We will have another guest on with us next week that we're looking forward to. And so we will be getting that broadcast ready for you. We also want you to go over, if you ever miss a live broadcast, you can follow our YouTube channel and look for Hey Sister YouTube channel. Look for the logo. You'll find it. And you can go back and watch some of our episodes and share them with your family and friends. And we are so appreciative of all of you who got involved in the show and in our comments. And as we were preparing for the show today, one of the things we said we want to do is that we're going to invite you to be a part of our program, our fans of Hey Sister. So right, this one right here, you're going to be the first one up. So get ready, Miss Jody, to come on with us for one evening of hot topics. And we're going to have you involved in the show. So y'all get ready. So yes, we're excited for next week as well. So thanks everybody. Y'all have a good evening and we'll see you on next week on Hey Sister.